Hey guys, welcome back. It's Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And oh my god, video games are of the devil. Video games are awful.
They've been saying that for years.
All roads lead to the alt-right. Oh my god, I can't believe this. The New York Times published this. Now, this is an op-ed piece.
That's right. It says opinion right on the top.
It says opinion. And I swear to God, this is like completely out of left field. But we're gonna see this more and more. It's like, I mean, it's like, you know, as the mainstream media looks for people to blame for horrible things happening in the real world, almost always comes back to video games and entertainment.
Oh yeah,
like always.
If you don't like the right movie, there's something wrong with you, and you're clearly a bad person. If you don't like the right actor they all like, there's something wrong with you. You're clearly the wrong kind of person. If you don't agree with everything they say, then there's clearly something wrong with you. You're the wrong kind of person.
But we have gone down this road. Gamers have gone down this road for like the last 2+ decades, 3 decades. Like everything comes back to video games. Like video games are the root of all evil.
Wait, what's the problem with this picture? Like,
I think
it's a controller. I'm like, all you're seeing is a guy with vines. What's the controller have to do with the vines?
I think this is the
he's turning into a vine man?
No, it's
that his tail?
That is the alt-right getting its thorny branches into this young man's brain.
It looks like controller tentacle porn.
It's tentacle porn. That would be interesting. Okay, so this is from Fortnite to alt-right. That is the actual headline of this this opinion piece on the New York Times,
okay, which
used to be a pretty reputable news source.
You can say that for a lot of places. They used to be a pretty reputable source, and now not so much.
Well, we're going to tell you, the New York Times, they put this up yesterday, and Forbes has already just completely destroyed this article.
Yeah, which is the same things we were saying before you found the Forbes article. Yeah.
Okay, so this is coming from Megan Condis. Ms. Condis is an assistant professor of game studies and a gamer.
You can be a professor of game studies?
Apparently.
I'm in the wrong business.
Professor of game studies, is that like, do you get that degree from like one of these online schools? Is that how that works?
I don't know. I want to be a professor of game. Hey, our Squid King's well on his way to being a professor of game studies. Professor
Squid King. There's a reason video games are such a fertile ground for white nationalist recruitment.
Fertile, like planting the seeds. Ooh.
Oh my god. So they bring up the Christchurch, New Zealand,
which is horrible thing.
Which is horrible, absolutely horrible. But the media pounced on that as an opportunity to take PewDiePie to task. And again, this sort of every time something like this happens, this always reignites you know, these anti-gaming sentiments, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read some of her more. So we're talking Pepe the Frog because we have to get everything in here.
Because it's all connected, don't you know? It's like she's got a little pin board and all these little thumbtacks with strings all across her room.
Oh my god!
Not really.
Just her attitude as a scholar. She said basically,
yeah, you're a professor of gaming.
Yeah. So she's basically
Wait,
saying,
she says as a scholar.
Yes.
Where does she say?
I'm gonna get there, but she said she doesn't put any stock in the Christchurch shooter, you know, and what he said as being legit. But as a scholar who studies video game culture, I do want to talk about gaming, because I think it plays a special role as a vector for spreading the messages of white supremacist ideology that lead to violence.
I'm a scholar of gaming. I'm sorry, I just can't wrap my head around that one. I just can't. I can't. I have a degree, I almost have a second degree, and I can't wrap my head around this. I'm a scholar of gaming. I'm a scholar. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I just can't.
Oh my god. And I think it's a conversation that we can have without taking the bait, because this is not about the content of the games themselves, but about the way the culture that surrounds gaming provides particularly fertile soil for sowing the seeds of resentment that grow into hate.
But they can argue that for anything. Because we're seeing it on flipping Twitter constantly over fandoms. I'm like, this is
God, she is memeable. Modern internet-based recruitment efforts are designed around the creation of a frictionless pipeline that slowly inoculates potential converts to hate, like putting a bunch of would-be Pepe the Frogs into a slowly boiling pot.
Well, that's just an image I don't want to think about.
Rather than waiting for targets to find them, recruiters go to where targets are, staging seemingly casual conversations about issues of race and identity in spaces where lots of disaffected, vulnerable, adolescent white males tend to hang out. Those who exhibit curiosity about, gosh, this sounds like a pedo van or something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Those who exhibit curiosity about white nationalist talking points or express frustration with the alt-right's ideological opponents, such as feminists, anti-racism activists, and social justice warriors, are then escorted through a funnel of increasingly racist rhetoric designed to normalize the presence of white supremacist ideology and paraphernalia through the use of edgy humor and memes.
Not for much longer over in Europe, because you're not going to be allowed to have them.
You're not going to be allowed to have memes in Europe. Memes. Blame the memes. Blame
It's
Pepe.
the memes. Oh my god.
Of course, video games aren't the only place online where these conversations are taking place. Social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are also common culprits.
But it works in reverse as well. It works in reverse as well, where you blame these people are taught over and over. If someone doesn't agree 100% with the far left ideology, even if there's like slightly right of that, they're alt-right Nazis. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
The same argument could be spun in reverse as well.
We have some
extremism in general.
I know we've got. I mean, you look. Go out to our Discord. We have a lot of people who are not straight, who are not.
I know we
white,
keep telling people that.
Male.
I have some people tell me that, like, I said I didn't like this or that, and then they immediately assumed that they were, dudes, and they're like, I'm not a dude, or I'm not white. A lot of people get accused of being white, and they're like, I'm not white at all. It's just, because I don't agree with you. I obviously am a white guy. It's like, really? Come on.
Oh my God, they're still talking. Okay, so they're still talking about Gamergate 5 years later. They cannot get over it.
I'm not a gamer, so.
Because why? Because video games in particular make for an ideal recruiting venue because they come equipped with an easy to understand narrative of the unwelcome invasion of our spaces. That in the right hands can readily be expanded beyond the world of gaming. So in other words, if you eat the ghosts in the game, you're going to go out into the real world and eat the faces off of people. That didn't make any sense.
No.
This doesn't make any sense.
No, I get what they're saying. I'm not saying, I don't 100% disagree. I'm not saying they're right out there being turned to white supremacists, but I'm just saying that, if you're a smooth-tongued individual and you want to recruit people, that would be a place that you might find people that are more inclined to listen to what you have to say. But I think that's the same for anything, not just this.
God.
My next thing is, how do you know that they're going to go out and find these people to determine? You're on a game playing with people you don't know. Unless you're like listening to their audio, you don't know if you're playing with a guy or a girl. You don't know if you're playing with somebody who's straight or gay or trans or what ethnicity they are. You don't know this stuff unless they tell you.
No.
So that's kind of a big, broad assumption.
Gamers are actually... she's kind of dumb for assuming that all gamers are straight white male. She's like, well, it's a stereotype. But aren't you saying that by saying that gaming is a fertile... ground to recruit white nationalists, you're assuming that there are mostly white men,
yes,
with a chip on their shoulder playing video games.
Right.
You, the professor of gamology.
Somebody playing a video game that happens to be white and male is going to be no more or less susceptible to being converted to this as they would any place else.
Yeah, this is stupid.
I mean, they could be at the mall and get converted. They could be,
the mall.
No one goes to the mall, but you know what I mean. They could be at, the bar and be converted. They could be, playing, their friends at a football stadium be converted. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm just saying it can be converted anywhere. This whole idea that the gaming makes it best.
Well, because that's the point. The point is the gamers are
when
bad.
you play games, your brain gets rotted, and you're susceptible to those earworms of ideas.
That's exactly it. As events like the 2014 harassment campaign Gamergate amply demonstrated, it is 2019. Gamergate has pretty much come and gone, and they still talk about it. This is like Comicsgate. Like, they still talk about it.
We got labeled Gamergate.
We got labeled Gamergate. We're not even online for Gamergate.
I play games. I play Kingdom Hearts, and I play Mean Tsum Tsum.
You do play Mean Tsum Tsum.
I kick your ass on Tsum Tsum.
So Gamergate amply demonstrated to some members of the gaming community the increased visibility of people of color, women, and LGBTQ people in gaming circles is seen less as an expansion and more as a hostile takeover.
Again, how do you know? Because here's my next thing. Like I said, I've already said this. I'm like, unless you you have an audio set on to know if they're a boy or girl or whatever. You don't know what race they are unless they tell you, what gender they are unless they tell you, what sexual orientation they are unless they tell you.
So the white supremacists are telling these gamers that they really do represent the rightful majority within their community and that all others are either opportunistic fakers. I gotta tell you, this article sounds like it was written by an opportunistic faker. I'm just putting it out there. Scholar of gaming professor. Only pretending to be into games or intruders, trying to ruin everything fun and unique about gaming culture with their insidious.
Did she just accuse you of being fake geek boys and girls?
Fake geek boys, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, you can't say fake geek girls, but basically she just accused you of being fake geek boys and girls.
Well, no. She's saying that the alt-right recruiters are telling people that everybody else that's not like them are fake, and that's how they're. So it's like
that doesn't even make sense.
That doesn't even make sense. It's like that girl over there. Yeah, she just got into games last year.
So what?
Do you want to be a Nazi? You know, I mean, that black kid down the street. Yeah, he's playing Fortnite now. Do you want to be a Nazi? Like, I don't even understand how the thought. It sounds like she's projecting. She said that, fakers only pretend to be, look, I'm sorry. Here's the thing. And we've seen it in comics and we've seen it in animation too.
There are a lot of fakers pretending to be things getting jobs in comics.
Right.
So,
there are people like, look, this is not, the norm, but there are a lot of people who jumped on the geek bandwagon to further their careers who are not really gamers, who are not really fans of comic books.
I'm just telling y'all straight up now. I'm not trying to
That's okay, we still love you.
Sway anybody.
Geeky's not trying to indoctrinate you. She does not want you to join the alt-right.
No, I don't play games, so I'm not even trying to be. I'm not even gonna. Don't even lump me with the fakers trying to intrude, because I'm not even a gamer. I mean, like I said, Tsum,
But there are, there are people there. We see it all the time. Once pop culture became a big deal, once it became fashionable to become a nerd, we had a lot of people crawling out of the woodwork, capitalizing on it, and then once they got there, they're like, okay, this is cool, but let's change everything. Let's change everything, because they were never really gamers to begin with. They were never anime fans to begin with. They were never.
Where are we going with this?
Okay, so
this is taking a long time.
Yeah, so let's go to Forbes. I'm like, oh my god, Forbes is jumping on the bandwagon too. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
I was like, the same time? Wow, that's weird.
Like a day after, from Fortnite to alt-right.
They're not.
Or white nationalists corrupting our gaming youth. I love that Nazis here.
That picture makes a heck of a lot more sense than the other picture did.
So this is coming from Eric Kane, who basically says Megan Condis is full of shit.
Well, in a nicer way.
Well, he I don't know, he takes her to task. So I'm just gonna scroll down here a little bit. This is not a complicated argument, and that I can see both sides of it, and it's not exactly the usual games create monsters / shooter / Satanist piece we so often see after mass shootings. Again, this is prompted by the Christ Church.
It's been blamed on it forever,
shootings, and every shooting, even going back to Columbine, they blamed Columbine on Doom. Back in the 90s, right? Blaming games for violence is as commonplace as it is absurd, but that's not exactly what Condis is arguing, though I'll get into that in a minute. Her argument still fails to convince. I mean, yeah, I can see political activists of all stripes might seek out recruitment in gaming forums. Okay, I see nothing unique about gaming to suggest that white nationalism will find anything more than a fringe foothold here, just like you were saying. Just like anywhere else, most gamers will not be swayed by white nationalist arguments. Some will, just like most people in general will not become regulars at Stormfront or the local KKK chapter house, but some will.
Right.
Right, when we talk about games this way, we gate them off from the rest of society as though gamers and gaming communities only exist in that space. But gamers are often also doctors, clerks, policemen, brewers, milliners, acupuncturists, taxidermists, meteorologists, like you get my drift. It's an argument with little substance. In other words, however much sense it makes in a certain light. Certainly there's some overlap between gaming and the darker corners of the internet. Well, yeah, you have some people that's like all they do. They get up and they game, and they've got life issues and they project, but that could be anybody, so most gamers don't even go on forums or get involved in the latest stupid controversy. Most gamers don't even read about games all that much. They have no interest in the latest patch notes for their favorite games. They want to shoot pixel bad guys in Apex Legends or Devil May Cry, Fortnite, or Candy Crush. There we go.
Or Tsum Tsums.
Or Tsum Tsums. That's the thing. You're much more likely to see people dancing and having a good time in Fortnite than you are to see gamers wooed by neo-Nazis with memes.
That's what they're all doing all the time. They're in there, like, you know, and then Squid plays games all the time that are like team games, and I can tell you that they're not out there talking about Nazism. They're out there, like, you know, trying to win the you know, the match or whatever, and they're not really thinking about it. Mostly it's him telling funny stories. We gotta get him on here telling us funny stories from gaming. He has some really funny ones. But anyway, but none of it involves being recruited to being a Nazi.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying.
Gamers aren't some other class of people or some foreign species. That's a silly notion. I love it how, I mean, she sounds like
she's a professor of gaming.
She's a professor, but she sounds like a closed-minded bigot. She's like, I'm a professor of gameology, and, you know, it's all these, you know, angry young white men playing video games. I thought games were for everybody.
They are for everybody.
You know, we don't want any posers coming in telling people, you know, things, but you yourself sound like a poser. She does. She sounds like a complete poser.
Just, you know.
So Condis writes, if we know gaming culture is being exploited by white supremacist recruiters, where do we go from here? It can be tempting to write off video games as toxic hotbeds of hate, too tainted for the uninitiated to engage with, but this would be exactly what extremists like the New Zealand shooter wanted. Do we know it's being exploited, or at least exploited? I see no evidence. Then she argues, because if we, the mainstream media and culture, I guess, don't pay attention to the gaming community, it will continue to be a potential breeding ground for white nationalists and right-wing terrorists.
I'm sorry.
This has just got...
But you know what? It's also, you know, the internet, not necessarily games, but the internet in general, I'm finding it to be a breeding ground of extremists on both sides.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I'm like, this whole idea that it's an extremist, it only lends to extremism on one side is absolute garbage.
And I would posit that she might actually be an extremist on the other side, using a platform like the New York Times to smack down gamers with which she has a personal problem with.
It does seem that way. I mean, from my opinion...
Trust me, I'm a professor of gaming.
We're allowed to... This is an opinion piece to begin with, and we're allowed to state our opinion. I honestly have to agree with what you're saying. I think that's exactly how it reads to me as well.
Okay. She says, our failure to take games seriously provides the companies in the game industry an excuse to not invest the time, effort, and money that would be required to moderate their communities properly.
There's no way to moderate this thing. They're so big. And the thing is, a lot of these companies do try. I mean, sometimes they go to the extreme the other way and they like kick people for stupid things that didn't even do it. And other times they don't do enough. I've seen it both ways.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get to a point where how do you moderate that much? You cannot.
And then, okay, look at Discord. I mean, Discord's got some crazy new rules that they're going to put in place. Discord is hugely popular with gamers, but now if you want to be a partnered server with Discord, you're going to have to just kind of guess what's bad to say.
Well, that's what we keep seeing. You have to guess what's bad. We don't want this hate. But what define that? Because like a lot of times when you find the definition of what they're describing as hate, they're talking about people being mean to people of a certain side, while the other side can be harassed any way they want, but because they're not in the right side, or you know,
yeah,
you know.
Well, Facebook, they just had this really nebulous statement where they're like, we're going to crack down on hate, and we're going to kind of, you know, look and see where you're going on Facebook, and we're going to decide from there if you're a hater or not. I'm like, that's really, it's pretty like open to interpretation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
like,
very open to interpretation.
Okay.
You get a list of what this constitutes as hate. Anyway.
So maybe our failure to take games seriously means we constantly misunderstand what the gaming community is actually like, or where to draw the line between actual gamers and actual trolls. This is where the op-ed, I love this. This is where the op-ed blindly wheels off a cliff and crashes into the rubble below. Cue explosions. Cue wailing sirens in the distance. Look, a lone spire of smoke rising high into the sky above the wreckage below. What exactly is a game company supposed to do to moderate its community?
Exactly. What, yeah, what's the solution? Yeah, exactly.
There's no proposed solution, just words, words, words. I'm at a loss of what that might be. But white nationalist recruitment, if it is happening at all, is more likely to take place on Reddit, 4chan, or Twitter.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Or any other more wretched domains not in the middle of a Call of Duty match.
Squid King plays Call of Duty all the time. And I'm telling you for a fact, there is no recruitment of Squid King in Call of Duty. It's just like whose butt we have to pop for this game, you know?
So he basically goes on to just, smack her down. And then he's like, I think I'll go kill me some Nazis in Wolfenstein just in case there's a white nationalist recruiter lurking about. Yeah, this is ridiculous. And what these people want is they want to turn the gaming industry into like this. New Normative Gamer, which is the most laughable video game site on the internet. I need to yell that for emphasis.
Okay.
It is. I thought it was The Onion.
That's what I asked you. I said, is this like a parody site?
No.
I asked you that when you were reading me some of the titles. I'm like, oh, it's a parody
They
site.
are dead serious. This is what these people...
Sure?
Yes.
I thought it was a parody site. An Incel's Animal Crossing Diary, the cat problem.
This is for real. This site is actually for real. This is what people like this want to turn gaming into this. Like, they back games
Go
that
down
have...
the Donkey Kong title. That was
Zero... Which one?
Go down. Donkey Kong, a Marxist interpretation.
Marxist interpretation of Donkey Kong. We've got just the headlines. NPC Massacre game shows Steam still isn't doing enough. Yes, they actually have a game where you can shoot NPCs.
Because NPCs meant something other than what it means today. Like,
right.
And to a lot of people, that's what it still means. Because, I mean, if you're not on the internet, most people aren't using that
Most
term.
people don't know.
Most people think NPCs are non-playable characters because that's what it means. And if you're not hanging out on the internet, you probably don't know that there's been another, meaning for that.
Oh my god. Yeah, one of Stardew Valley's bachelorettes is emotionally abusive, and that's not okay. Yeah, I mean, this is so ridiculous. But again, like, you've got people like this who... Look, she says she's an assistant professor of games and a gamer. She doesn't... For somebody who's supposed to be a professor of games, she doesn't understand gaming culture at all.
She says she's a scholar. What's her, credentials for being a scholar?
That would be helpful.
Did she go to college or something?
Like I said, like, online college. Here's the comments. Oh my god. They're talking about racial slurs in games.
Someone's like, I play violent games all the time. I've been recruited.
God.
And I'm like, it's not, and the idea that it's all just, that's mostly made up of white boys on there playing is kind of, insulting too. So anyway, yeah, most of it's people just telling them that's stupid. But anyway.
Yeah, this is just ridiculous. But anytime, the thing that really makes me upset about this is...
Well, someone said in the comment, don't have to open it again, but they said there's 80 million Fortnite players who've never shot anybody.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, this is so ridiculous. Games have always been demonized, and I'm sorry, Megan Condis, I do have to question, like, what your background is, because if you actually knew the history of gaming and you were really as in touch with gaming culture as you claim to be, I think you would understand that, right?
Well,
but
I used to play Tetris. You used to make me like want to just go out and just do some bad things because it was converting me from a young age.
It was because it's made by the Russians.
That's right. It was
the Russians were trying to they were trying to show you how to collude by arranging those bricks.
That's right. It was brainwashing me for the future.
This is ridiculous, and basically this is a call for more censorship, is what this is.
Yeah.
I mean, this is exactly what this is.
It's just like really weird. Like this last 2 or 3 years, just gotten insane. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just so ridiculous, and it's just a small group of people being so effing ridiculous, and it's ruining it for everybody.
Yeah,
Stop.
Stop it. But the thing is that she's like, oh, it fosters this us versus them, and these.
As she fosters an us versus them.
Exactly. These people who aren't real gamers coming in trying to tell us what to do and change our gaming habits and tell us that this is wrong and that's wrong as she does that.
Right,
like,
but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean, these extremists on both sides, they keep screaming about this stuff, but the thing is, like, especially one side screaming more than the other, but it's like, of everything they accuse the one side of, they're doing the exact same thing. And I just find it laughable, because it's like, you guys should I can't even. And everybody in the middle is like, you're both stupid. Knock it off.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I'm glad Forbes took her to the task because she needed to be taken to task. And I'm sure other people will take her to task as well. But anyway, interesting article. Thought it was worth looking at. And no, Squid King has not been recruited that I'm aware of.
No.
So, okay. So we're going to wrap this one up.
Yeah.
All right. So please subscribe to Clownfish TV for more pop culture news, views, rants, gaming videos, art videos, and more. This has been Neon and Geeky.
Bye.
Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.